Good morning, good morning, good morning. Where am I looking at today? The camera's over there. Good morning and welcome to this week's episode of Monday Motivation. Now, this is a Monday Motivation where I'm really encouraging you to go for it. So whether you are working for somebody else, working for yourself, whether you are taking care of the people that you love in your life, whatever you're doing, this Monday Motivation has been designed specifically in mind for you and people like you who give Mondays a bad rap. Hey, and hot off the blocks, Alan saying good morning. So good morning, Alan. I'm waving back at you. These have been designed for people who recognise the value of Mondays and recognise that it's another day. And not to say that it's only Mondays that should be celebrated and revered in this way, but Mondays is the one that gets the bad rap. People don't like Mondays. Oh, they hate the start of the week, dreading everything that comes before them. And the reason why I decided on this episode for this week was because it doesn't have to be that way. So, you know, take the stuff around you as feedback. If there is something that is coming back at you in life and you're like, I don't like this, you actually have the ability to change it. But it's not something that people talk about a lot in our society. They talk about, you know, sticking with it, pushing through, and all sorts kinds of things like this. So let me tell you where these Monday motivations came from before we get started. And thank you for those of you who watch and lurk. That's absolutely fine. And if you do want to take part, I'd love you to pop a comment in the box, say hello, let me know where in the world you're watching from. And if you've got any questions on anything that I'm asking, by all means to ask away. Or for those of you who are just listening and you've got insights or light bulb moments or something that you want to share in relation to this subject, I would love it if you popped your comment in the box below. And this is relevant whether you're watching live or on the replay. And then before I get started, my final request is, if you or somebody you know needs a little bit of Monday motivation, maybe you know that they're going through something and they could do with a little gentle pat on the back and everything's going to be okay, then please do share this with them too. I'd be really grateful if you share this on your timeline with all of your friends, because you never know who of your friends and family right here on Facebook might need to hear what we're talking about right now. So how do you go for it? Well, this isn't really about a how to do something, because I think we get bombarded with information as it is out there and around there in the world. And as the lovely visibility vibers, or the vibers as I call them for short, will tell you, there are a ton of people out there that are willing and able and happy to support you in your goals, in your plans and in your dreams. There are thousands of people out there in the world, and you might not have found them yet. So I'm just saying a hello to Diane. Good morning, Diane. So whether you are doing it for yourself, whether you are doing it for somebody else, or whether you're doing a mixture of both, whatever you want to put in your life and do in your life is achievable. Now, I don't want this to sound like some sort of personal development rhetoric. What I do really want to say is that there are steps that I see people take. You know, I'm very privileged to work as a coach. I'm very privileged to work as a consultant. And I'm very privileged to train these things out. And I see people from all sorts of walks of life. So quite recently, I worked with an individual who was really doing well in their corporate job. And they just wanted to just make that move to do something better, greater, and something that they'd been achieving or wanting to achieve for a while. Now, I'd love to say that I have the magic dust to sprinkle over that, that desire of that person, and all of a sudden these things, become magically done. But the truth of the matter is, I just act as a catalyst. All I do is ask the questions that you might not have asked yourself, reflect back to you what you might not be seeing. And then the reason why I work with you and people like you is because you go off and you do the thing that you want to do. Now, on some occasions, that doesn't happen. Why? Because sometimes in that process, in that question and reflection process, people realise it's not what they want. So here's how you go for it. And I was really inspired this morning when I got up, did my meditation. The mornings are light now, it's already light outside, and very soon we'll probably hear the dust van going past. But like, if you've got, whether you want to call it a dream, an aspiration, a goal, just give me a thumbs up or a love heart across the screen. You don't need to tell me what it is unless you want to. And if you want somewhere more private to do that, please do go into the Visibility Vibes Tribe, and under the Monday Motivation post, which will appear very shortly after this Facebook Live, just let us know just one of the things that you want to reach and reach for. Because here's what I do know. Some of the most successful people that I work with, some of the most successful people that I've seen, everything that they've wanted to achieve in life has started out maybe with a thought, then a dream or a wish, a desire, and there are steps by steps to make that happen. So if you are looking to go for what you want, one of the first things, in fact, let me kind of unravel the story. So people often say they're going for what they want and they might be struggling or static in it. So they might be procrastinating, or they might be struggling to get to the, to the thing that they want to get. And there's three very specific things that I see in order to get you from here to there, so to speak. And that here to there is all around what goes on inside. What goes on inside? How do you think about your goal and your aim? The next thing is actually very, very clearly articulating what you want. Do you know, out of the people that I speak to, I would say, although people think they want something, they'll verbalise that they want something, but they're actually not clear themselves on the specifics of what they want. And this is a really important key. If you don't know what you want, it's really hard to go for it, or to recognise when the right opportunity comes along, literally lands on your lap, that allows you to do it. So let me give you an example. A client that I was working with just a few months ago was working corporately and really wanted to be able to start a business, but didn't want to do the slow burn. I'm going to start a business, I'm going to rely on my savings for the first 2 years, or rely on the partner or anything else like that. They knew what they wanted to do. They wanted to help people with their health and wellness. So they stayed within that corporate space that they were in and had, if you like, I like to call it a plan A actually, but they called it a plan B. So they had their plan B. They knew where they wanted to go. So the first thing that they did was actually did the work on themselves. Like, they're really busy every day. They're going to work, they're managing projects, they're consulting at work. Yet, here's the thing. They were very, very clear on what they wanted to do. Now, how to get even more clear on that is the specifics. So I have people that will come to me, and let me be candid. The reason I share this is because I fall into this, this rabbit hole every now and then too. So I caught myself a few weeks ago with a plan of something that I wanted to do. And if you can hear the background noise, it's Monday morning, which means it's rubbish collection day. So I had a plan of something that I really wanted to do, really wanted to achieve, and still want to achieve. But here's the thing, I put the plan in my head, I wrote it down. In fact, there were two things. One I just talked about, and Alan called me on it. I said that I wanted to run the London Marathon within the next, it'll be 4.5 years. Yet I wasn't doing anything about it, And then the second thing, which I will keep to myself, but was something that I really wanted to go for. And I kind of gave it a headline, no details. So how on earth can we progress on our dreams? Like, it's no wonder that we procrastinate on stuff when we're not really clear on what it is. So one of the things that I hear people say a lot is that, they want to run a business and they want to earn X amount of money a month. And that's their only goal. There's no clarity behind the types of people they want to help, how they want to make the money. Do they want to sell? Let's say, for example, they want to make 5,000 a month, 10,000 a month. Do you want to sell one thing for £1 or $1? And do you want to sell 5,000 of them or 10,000 of them? Do you want to sell one package at 10,000? I attended an event last year, and it was so funny because the person who was leading the event was encouraging people to put a plan in place. And I was amazed at how many people had a figure of what they wanted to earn a year, knew what that meant per month, but didn't even think about like the fact that they could sell one thing for one price. I was amazed at the number of people that said they wanted to get healthy and well, but they couldn't get to the gym for some reason. Maybe they were too busy or something else like that, yet didn't think that they could actually do exercises within their home, or they could make a start from where they were now. The number of people that said, you know what, I need to lose a bit of weight and eat a bit more healthier, yet kind of had a finishing line in their mind of, I'll stop eating the rubbish when I can either afford to or see a nutritionist or something like that. Now, I share those with you because they seem like plans. I want to have, do, be X amount, this thing, that thing. But when you're really going for it, you know the detail below it. And it becomes less about, say, a financial goal or a target, so to speak. It becomes more about the person who you need to be to achieve that. So let me speak to that for a second. And by the way, does any of this resonate? If it resonates, will you give me a love heart across the screen? If it doesn't resonate, I can move on and speak about something else. But I really want to share with you ways to really kind of, like, I want to say expand your mind a little bit, which makes me sound like, ooh, Paul McKenna, hypnotist. But I really want to share ways for you to expand your mind, because if you think about it, we live in our bodies for so long, we live in our minds for so long, we can get really static and think that we're stretching ourselves or becoming somebody different, and we can just get into that place of complacency. Thank you. I see the love heart, so I know that this is something that resonates with you. So, Diane says it definitely resonates. So here's the thing. Here's what I discovered about the tiny dark corners of my mind and my body. We'll give ourselves a headline of we want to be the thing. But unfortunately, we don't think about where we are now. Like, what's the first step that we need to take now? We don't have any plan around it. We say, by this date, I'm going to stop doing this thing and start doing this thing. And what I discovered within myself just a few weeks back was, by saying, here's the thing that I want to do, that's not really a goal. That's not really an intention. And if you like, I'm known for being able to ask a question behind someone's question. So somebody will ask me a question and it's like I hear the question behind it, so I'll speak to that. So that's what I want to do for you all now. When we say we want to do this thing, we want to have this goal, there's a certain element of which we strive or work for it, but there's also an element of letting go. But before we let go of it being like the absolutely necessary thing, we need the clear foundations in place. Now, for some people, this is a feeling. So they know that when they get to A, B or C, they know how it's going to make them feel, they know how it's going to affect their life, they know how it's going to, go down in their family. They also know how they want things to be around them, so they know how they're going to feel at the end of it. They know that they don't want to hit a certain monetary amount or running amount or goal amount and then be burnt out at the end of it. They think through as if they were placed in some sort of order, as if they had to write it down and give it to somebody else. They don't just give it a headline, they give it the headline, the chapter, and all the other details. Some people do that by feeling. In fact, a lot of people do it by feeling, but first comes the writing it down. So if you're putting something down there, you're putting a plan together and it just doesn't feel quite right, it's not wrong, it's not a sign that it shouldn't happen. It just shows you to pay attention to this. So, let me give you an example that you can work with. So I've been talking a lot about wanting to run, and I to be honest with you, at school I was an athletics person. All the short distances and the running, and all the short running, the 200, the 400, the hurdles, the long jump, the high jump, all that sort of stuff. I hated cross-country running, probably because it was done in the winter when it was cold. But I didn't like long distance running. I didn't think I was good at it. I didn't really have a technique. But later on in my 20s, my early 20s, one day I got this kind of like, I want to run. So I literally got up and ran. I ran a lot further than I did on Saturday. But unfortunately, I didn't keep that up. And it took another couple of decades, or another decade later, where I ran again, and shared with some of my Facebook friends how I got beaten by an 89-year-old man. And then this weekend, as I was going through and looking at my own goals and how I wanted to stretch, I realised something. I realised that if I wanted to be able to even enter and be, anywhere near able to run the London Marathon in 4.5 years' time, I need to start running. And wouldn't it be nice for me to be running the London Marathon and knowing that I've got at least 4 years running under my belt? So I very proudly ran, get this, 1 mile on Saturday without stopping, and as I said to my Facebook friends, without being chased. Now, why would I get on a public forum and boast about running 1 mile? The reason that I did that was because I started from where I am. I could have gone out there and tried to run 5 miles, 10 miles, but you know what? I haven't run for like over a decade. So I wanted to be able to start from where I am now. And the only way that I was able to do that was to have a look at where I am now and where I want to be, and just start those stepping stones now. For those people that say they want to lose weight, start by just losing something or feeling great within your body. For those people that say they want to make X amount of money a month, like people often say, I want to make, £10,000, £20,000 a month. And I'd say, well, what does it feel like to make £10 a month? Now, the stretch here, or the question behind the question, is all around people often, especially when people are transitioning from a job to self-employment, because they earn X amount on the self-employment, they'll look to replace their income. But something happens in 90% of the minds where they'll jump from, this is what I earn at work, so based on what I earn at work, I'm going to double that and earn that alone in my business. And until you experience what it feels like to sell your first product of maybe even £10 or $10, your first product of £100 or $100, then, the 10,000 and everything else seems so far away that it feels like a big stretch. That's the number one reason why many people procrastinate. So I hope that some of those points have been really useful to you, and I hope that you can share them with somebody else. Clearly, in 20 minutes, I can't give you the nuts and bolts and the step-by-step of what to do. It will take you 10, 20 minutes or slightly longer to sit and really crystallise within your mind what you want to achieve. So whether it's health, well-being, wealth, fitness, love, or anything else like that, it's really important to map out on a very deep level what you want. And then the next step is up to you. Depending on the person you are, you can surrender it and throw it away, or you can start to use that as a roadmap, step by step. The one thing that I can promise you is that as you go from A to B, and as you've planned, and this is the reason why to still go into that level of depth, whether you're into kind of throwing it out there and manifesting it back or anything else, when those opportunities start to come along, you'll start to notice them more clearly, you'll start to see them more vividly, and it just really crystallises and gives you a very clear vision of what you want to see in your life, what you want your life to look like, and what you want it to sound and feel like too. So if you have been doing this by yourself and you don't want to, and you're really serious about achieving it and you want some help with it, there's a couple of things you can do. You can either go to the top of this page and go into the Visibility Vibes tribe and share in there, but don't just go in there, splurge and run. Don't just go in there and splurge when you're having a bad day. Go in and let people make a declaration of what you want. Let people know what you want or what you're planning on doing to get there, and go back in and engage and update and really declare some more the steps as you go along. The other way, of course, you can do that is you can hit the message button at the top of this page and schedule a time to speak to me, where we'll be able to go through how we could perhaps work together to get you from A to B. For some people, it's the starting push. For others, it's the middle route of keeping going, the consistency of getting going, and how to achieve that. You know, for some of my corporate clients, it's how to raise their own corporate visibility in a way that people see them. And this visioning process, this deciding, this clarification is as equally a part of that. It's what helped the client that went from working to starting their own business to staying in, working on what they called their plan B. And it meant that when they left their company, they have literally gone on a really great trajectory, all done by the groundwork of what they were doing and what they were planning and what they were visualising and what they were putting into place. So I hope this has been helpful for you. Let me know how you go. I always wonder what you do with these nuggets as you go on. And for those of you that are over in the Visibility Vibes tribe, I'll see you in there in a bit. For those of you that have yet to discover, what a juicy group with over 700 people in that group, of people at different levels, different stages, going for their dreams, many that have gone for their dreams, and many of you who are just like the kindest, most generous and most amazing people on the planet. The people who are making a difference from today, not waiting until, then go over, get reacquainted. In fact, go in, and even if you've been in there and you've been posting in there, go in there and say hi and introduce yourself again as if it was your first day in the group. Thank you so much for watching, and please share this on your timeline. You never know who of your family, your friends, your Facebook friends might need to hear this message this morning. Lots of love to you. Thank you for joining me, and bye for now.